I let my husband's pregnant sister stay with us to help her out. Months later, I discovered they'd been having an affair and the baby was his. Hi, I'm Angela, 32F, and I've been married to Michael, 35M, for 5 years. We have a 3-year-old daughter, Elena. I'm writing this because I'm really struggling with a situation involving my sister-in-law, Lisa, 28F, and I don't know what to do. Michael and I met during our sophomore year of college. We were both part of the same study group for a challenging economics class. At first, we were just friends, but over time our relationship grew into something more. We dated for 4 years before getting married. Michael has always been a hard worker. He's an accountant at a big firm in the city and often works long hours, especially during tax season. Despite his busy schedule, he's always made time for our family. He's a loving father to Elena and has been supportive of my career as a freelance graphic designer. Lisa is Michael's younger sister. She's always been the free spirit of the family. While Michael followed a traditional path of college and career, Lisa dropped out of college after a year to travel. She's had various jobs over the years: waitress, yoga instructor, personal trainer. She's never really settled into a stable career. When Michael and I first got married, Lisa was living across the country. We only saw her once or twice a year at family gatherings. She and I were friendly, but never particularly close. I always got the sense that she was a bit jealous of my relationship with Michael. They had been very close growing up, and I think she felt like I was taking her place in his life. About 2 years ago, Lisa moved back to our city. She said she wanted to be closer to family. At first, it was nice having her around more often. She would come over for dinner once a week and was great with Elena. The issue started about 6 months ago when Lisa announced she was pregnant. She's not married and the father isn't in the picture. She told us she had been seeing a guy casually for a few months, but when she told him about the pregnancy, he wanted nothing to do with it. Our whole family was surprised but supportive. Michael's parents offered to help Lisa financially and with childcare once the baby arrives. At first, I was happy for Lisa. I remember how overwhelming it felt when I first found out I was pregnant with Elena, and I had Michael's support. I couldn't imagine going through that alone. I told Lisa she could count on us for help and support. But things started to change when she began coming over to our house almost every day. She said she was lonely and wanted to spend time with family. Michael encouraged me to be understanding of her situation. He pointed out that she didn't have a partner to lean on like I did when I was pregnant. Lisa would show up unannounced and stay for hours. She'd raid our fridge, saying she was having pregnancy cravings. She'd leave messes around the house, claiming she was too tired to clean up. She'd monopolize Michael's attention, always needing his help with something or other. I tried to be patient, but it was starting to wear on me. I work from home as a freelance graphic designer, and Lisa's constant presence was disruptive. It's hard to focus on client work when someone is constantly chatting or watching TV in the background. I talked to Michael about setting some boundaries, like having Lisa call before coming over. He agreed, but never actually enforced anything. Whenever I brought it up, he'd say, "She's pregnant and alone. We need to be there for her." Lisa continued showing up whenever she wanted. As her pregnancy progressed, Lisa started asking for more and more favors. She'd call Michael at all hours to drive her to appointments or go buy her cravings. Once, she called him at 2 a.m. because she wanted a specific type of ice cream. Michael got out of bed and went to 3 different stores to find it for her. When I expressed frustration about this, he accused me of being unsympathetic. Last month, Lisa asked if she could move in with us temporarily. She said her apartment lease was ending and she wanted to save money for the baby. Michael immediately said yes without even discussing it with me first. I was upset that such a big decision was made without my input. When I tried to talk to Michael about it later, he accused me of being selfish and unsupportive of his sister. We had a huge fight about it. He said things like, "If it was your sister, you'd want to help her, and I can't believe you turn away a pregnant woman in need." In the end, I reluctantly agreed to let Lisa stay with us for a couple months. But I'm really struggling with the situation. Lisa has completely taken over our house. She's rearranged furniture in the guest room and living room, saying she needed things set up a certain way for her pregnancy comfort. She uses all our stuff without asking: my expensive skincare products, Michael's laptop, even Elena's toys for the nursery she's setting up. Lisa expects me to cook and clean for her. She says she's too tired from the pregnancy to do household chores. When I asked her to at least clean up after herself, she burst into tears and told Michael the first was being mean to her. Michael spends all his free time catering to Lisa's needs and barely pays attention to Elena or me anymore. He's been coming home late from work because he's been going with Lisa to her prenatal appointments. He misses Elena's bedtime more often than not now. When I try to talk to him about it, he gets defensive and says I'm being dramatic. He says this is what family does for each other and I should be more understanding. But I feel like I'm the only one expected to be understanding. No one seems to care how this is affecting me or our daughter. Elena is confused by all the changes. She doesn't understand why Aunt Lisa is always at our house now or why Daddy is spending so much time with her. She's been acting out more, probably due to the disruption in her routine. I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm walking on eggshells in my own home, afraid to say anything because Michael and Lisa will accuse me of being unsupportive. I'm doing all the housework and childcare for 3 adults and a toddler, on top of trying to keep up with my freelance work. I'm exhausted and frustrated. I've tried talking to my own family about it, but they live in another state and don't really understand the day-to-day reality of the situation. My best friend thinks I should put my foot down, but she's single and doesn't have kids, so she doesn't fully grasp the complexity of family dynamics. I love my husband, but I'm starting to resent both him and Lisa. I feel like I've lost my partner in my home. I don't want to be the evil sister-in-law who turned away a pregnant woman in need, but I also don't know how much more of this I can take. Am I overreacting to this situation? How can I address this with Michael without causing more conflict? Is it unreasonable to want my home and my husband back? Any advice would be appreciated. Update 1. It's been about 3 weeks since my original post. First, I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. Reading your comments helped me realize I wasn't crazy for feeling frustrated with the situation. I took the advice of many commenters and tried to have another serious talk with Michael about setting boundaries with Lisa. I explained how her constant presence was affecting me and our family dynamic. I suggested we help Lisa find her own place and offer support in other ways. At first, Michael seemed receptive. He apologized for not considering my feelings and promised we'd figure out a solution together. For a couple days, things seemed better. Michael talked to Lisa about looking for her own apartment and she agreed it was time to move out. We spent a weekend looking at apartments with Lisa. We found a nice 1-bedroom place not far from our house. Michael offered to cover her security deposit and first month's rent. I felt relieved that we were making progress and thought things would finally get back to normal. However, things took an unexpected turn last week. I had a dentist appointment in the afternoon, but it got cancelled at the last minute. I decided to use the free time to run some errands. I came home earlier than expected and walked in on Michael and Lisa in a very compromising position on our couch. They were kissing passionately and Michael's hand was up Lisa's shirt. I was in complete shock. I just stood there frozen for a moment before Lisa noticed me and scrambled away from Michael. Michael jumped up and started stammering excuses about how it wasn't what it looked like. I didn't want to hear it. I grabbed Elena from her playroom and left the house immediately. I've been staying at my best friend's house for the past week, trying to process everything. Michael has been calling and texting nonstop, begging me to come home so we can talk. He claims it was a one-time mistake and Lisa came onto him. He says he was just comforting her because she was emotional about the pregnancy and things got out of hand. I don't know what to believe. Part of me wonders if something has been going on between them this whole time. It would explain why Michael was so insistent on having Lisa around constantly and why he always took her side over mine. Lisa moved out of our house the day after I caught them. She sent me a long text apologizing and saying it would never happen again. She blamed pregnancy hormones for clouding her judgment. She said she had been feeling lonely and vulnerable, and Michael was just being kind to her. I'm devastated and don't know what to do. Michael and I have been together for over a decade. We've built a life together and have a child. I never thought he would betray me like this, especially not with his own sister. I love Michael and want to believe it was truly a one-time thing. But I can't get the image of them together out of my head. I'm not sure I can ever trust him again after this betrayal. And even if I could forgive him, how could I ever be comfortable around Lisa again? She's having a baby, Michael's niece or nephew. That child will be a part of our lives. How can we have any kind of normal family relationship after this? My best friend is encouraging me to leave Michael. She says I deserve better and that I can't trust anything he says now. My parents, who I finally told about the situation, agree. They're furious with Michael and want me to come stay with them for a while. But I'm hesitant to break up our family. Elena keeps asking when we're going home and why Daddy isn't with us. I don't know what to tell her. She's too young to understand what's happening. The thought of putting her through a divorce breaks my heart. I have an appointment with a lawyer next week to discuss my options. I'm not sure if I'm ready to file for divorce, but I want to know where I stand legally if it comes to that. I'm also looking into individual counseling to help process everything. Michael wants us to try couples counseling. He says he'll do anything to save our marriage. Part of me wants to try, for Elena's sake if nothing else. But another part of me doesn't know if I can ever look at him the same way again. I'm also worried about the financial implications of all this. I've been working part-time since Elena was born and Michael is the primary breadwinner. If we divorce, I'm not sure how I'll support myself and Elena. The thought of starting over at 32 is terrifying. I feel like my whole world has been turned upside down. Everything I thought I knew about my life and my relationships has been called into question. I'm angry, hurt, confused, and scared about the future. Has anyone been in a similar situation? Is there any coming back from this kind of betrayal? How do I explain this to Elena if we do end up separating? I'm so lost and any advice would be appreciated. Update 2. It's been about 2 months since my last update. A lot has happened and I wanted to share where things stand now. After much consideration, I decided to give Michael another chance. We agreed to go to marriage counseling and work on rebuilding our relationship. Michael seemed genuinely remorseful and promised to cut contact with Lisa outside of necessary family interactions. We started seeing a therapist twice a week. Michael moved into the guest room while we worked on things. He gave me full access to his phone and email accounts as a show of transparency. He also took a leave of absence from work to focus on our family. For a while, things were improving. Michael was attentive and we were communicating better. He deleted Lisa's number from his phone and showed me all their text exchanges leading up to the incident I walked in on. Our therapist was helping us work through the betrayal and rebuild trust. Elena seemed happier having both her parents home again. Michael was spending a lot of quality time with her, trying to make up for his absence during the Lisa situation. We were starting to feel like a family again. However, last week I discovered something that changed everything. I was using Michael's laptop to print some documents for work. When I opened the browser, I noticed an email notification pop up from an unfamiliar address. Curiosity got the best of me and I opened it. It was an email from Lisa to a secret email account Michael had set up. The content made it clear they had been having an affair for months, long before Lisa got pregnant. In fact, Michael is most likely the father of Lisa's baby. The emails went back over a year. They detailed meetups, hotel stays, and plans to be together. There were discussions about how to handle the pregnancy and whether Michael should leave me. Lisa had pushed for him to end our marriage, but Michael had been hesitant because of Elena. I confronted Michael with this information. At first he tried to deny it, but eventually confessed when I showed him the emails. He admitted the affair had been going on for over a year. He claimed he wanted to end it, but Lisa threatened to tell everyone if he left her. He said he never meant for Lisa to get pregnant, but once she did, he felt trapped. He was afraid of losing his daughter and his entire family if the truth came out. He swore that he had ended things for good after I caught them kissing, and that he truly wanted to make our marriage work. I was blindsided all over again. Everything suddenly made sense: why Michael was so insistent on having Lisa around, why he catered to her every need. I felt like such a fool for believing his excuses and giving him another chance. I told Michael to pack his things and leave immediately. He begged me to reconsider, saying he would do anything to save our marriage. He offered to cut off all contact with Lisa, even if it meant not being involved with the baby. But I knew there was no coming back from this level of betrayal and deception. I filed for divorce and am fighting for full custody of Elena. Michael is trying to negotiate, but I'm not willing to compromise after what he's done. My lawyer thinks I have a strong case given the circumstances of Michael's infidelity and the potential of another child. Lisa is about 7 months pregnant now. She's been trying to contact me to apologize again, but I've blocked her number. I can't even think about her or the baby without feeling sick. The idea that my daughter is going to have a half-sibling that's also her cousin is just too much to process right now. Michael's parents are devastated by the whole situation. They've been supportive of me and Elena, which I appreciate. They're struggling to come to terms with what Michael and Lisa have done. Michael's mom offered to let Elena and me live with them for a while, but I decided it was best to stay in our home for Elena's stability. I'm still processing everything and some days are harder than others. But I know ending the marriage is the right decision. I deserve better than a husband who could betray me like this, especially with my own sister-in-law. And Elena deserves better than a father who could blow up her family like this. I'm focusing on being there for Elena and keeping her routine as normal as possible. I've told her that Daddy did something that hurt Mommy very badly, so he's not living with us anymore. It breaks my heart to see her confusion and sadness, but I know this is better than staying in a toxic marriage. Thank you to everyone who's offered support throughout this ordeal. Your kind words and advice have meant more than you know. To anyone else going through something similar, know that you're stronger than you think. It's a difficult road, but you can get through it. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update. The divorce was finalized last month and I wanted to share a final update on the situation. The past few months have been challenging, but I'm starting to feel like myself again. The divorce proceedings were contentious at times, but ultimately Michael agreed to my terms. I have primary custody of Elena, with Michael getting visitation every other weekend. Lisa gave birth to a baby boy 2 months ago. Paternity tests confirmed Michael is the father. He's now splitting his time between two families, and it's been a difficult adjustment for everyone, especially Elena. She doesn't fully understand the situation, but she knows she has a new baby brother who doesn't live with us. We've been working with a child therapist to help her process everything. Michael and Lisa are officially together now. They moved in together shortly after the baby was born. It still hurts to think about them as a couple, but I'm working on accepting it for Elena's sake. I've had to interact with them at drop-offs and pickups for Elena's visits, which has been uncomfortable to say the least. I've struggled with how to handle Lisa's baby in relation to Elena. On one hand, he's her half-brother and I don't want to keep her from having a relationship with him. On the other hand, the whole situation is a constant reminder of Michael and Lisa's betrayal. For now, we've agreed that Elena can see the baby during her visits with Michael, but I'm not ready to have direct interactions with Lisa or the baby myself. Financially, things have been tight. I've had to ramp up my freelance work to full-time to make ends meet. Michael is paying child support, but with a new baby, he's argued for lower payments. My lawyer is fighting this, but it's an ongoing battle. I've also had to dip into my savings to cover legal fees and therapy costs for Elena and myself. I've gone low contact with Michael's family except for necessary communication about Elena. It's too painful to be around them knowing they're also Lisa and the new baby's family now. Michael's parents have tried to maintain a relationship with Elena and me, but it's strained. They're torn between their children and grandchildren, and I understand it's a difficult position for them. I've started dating again recently. Nothing serious yet, but it feels good to put myself out there. My focus is on healing and being the best mom I can be to Elena, but it's nice to have adult conversations that don't revolve around my ex-husband and the divorce. Work has been a saving grace through all of this. I've thrown myself into my graphic design projects and even landed a few big clients. It's given me a sense of purpose and accomplishment outside of my personal drama. I'm considering going back to school part-time to update my skills and potentially move into a more stable, full-time position. Elena is doing better. The therapy has helped, and she's adjusting to our new normal. She still has moments of sadness and confusion, especially around Michael's visitations, but overall she's a resilient kid. I'm incredibly proud of her and how she's handling everything. As for me, I have good days and bad days. There are still moments when the anger and hurt feel overwhelming. But I'm learning to let go and focus on the future. I'm rediscovering who I am outside of my marriage and rebuilding my self-esteem. Looking back, I'm glad I trusted my instincts and didn't let Michael gaslight me into thinking I was overreacting. While this has been the hardest experience of my life, I know I'm stronger for having gone through it. I've learned a lot about myself and what I'm capable of. To anyone dealing with infidelity or betrayal, know that you deserve better. It's a long road, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Don't be afraid to lean on friends, family, and professionals for support. And remember, it's okay to put yourself first sometimes. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your words of encouragement and advice have been a lifeline during the darkest moments. I'm cautiously optimistic about the future and looking forward to writing the next chapter of my life, one that's drama-free and on my own terms.